All right, ladies and gentlemen, so we are starting off this video with a message at the top saying this account has been permanently banned. Check your inbox for a message with more information. I don't know what happened. I didn't do nothing. I don't type on this Reddit account at all. Need for Speed, I don't know if I got banned out of the Need for Speed Reddit or not. Who knows, right? But anyway, today's video we're going to be talking about an idea that I did see on the Reddit earlier. I did not read through any of this sort of stuff. Bro, look how long this is, right? I saw this at work. I was not going to spend my work time reading this, bro. It's ridiculous. I was like, you know what? Why don't we make a video out of this, right? Easy content, easy content. And y'all, hey, my man also put a slideshow on the bottom. So we're going to get into that a little bit later once we finally read this book that he decided to write. Some random guy, shout out to him. I haven't read it, like I said. This reaction is purely new. Let's see. Hopefully this idea is not bad. I've been seeing a lot of bad Need for Speed ideas. I've seen some cyberpunk stuff. I've seen some full cartoon stuff. I've seen a lot of stuff for these new Need for Speed games. And I'm so glad that some of y'all are not put in charge, because if y'all were put in charge, this franchise would be in the garbage. It would be in the trash 100%, because y'all just be doing anything and saying anything and just making anything. I swear, somebody typed in, it had to be. I can't prove it, but somebody definitely typed in Chat GPT and said, create a cyberpunk Need for Speed game. Give me the plot of it. Copy that and put it in Reddit. I kid you not. Anyway, let's get into this. My idea for a new Need for Speed game. I'm a little excited about it. Okay, let's see. Prepare for a lot of reading. Very big understatement. Crazy. You have been warned. I've been thinking about Need for Speed a lot lately. I'm already sucking at reading already. We're not even through the first sentence yet. Specifically, how Heat and Unbound apparently had a lot of missed potential. I would say Heat more than Unbound for sure. Unbound, I think, now, don't get me wrong. Volume 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Those were the dark ages. Dark ages. I'm talking the plague. Those were the worst portions of the game by far. I cannot believe that they dropped the game with them type of volumes. That is ridiculous. Perfect scenario, Kaizen should have been from day one. That should have been volume 1 to volume 9. Every volume should have been Kaizen. But after volume 6, they kind of picked up the pace and everything. So I think that's where it gained a lot of its potential back. And we did see that, right? Like, everybody has access to that. Now Heat, bro, they literally dropped Heat and then didn't drop anything else. The audacity of EA to drop a game and not drop no DLC, no additional content, except for a paid car. And to put it in your face even more, that paid car is the second best car in the entire game. So if you're not using the RSR and somebody has the McLaren F1, they automatically win, bro. If they know what they're doing, obviously, right? If they can drive in a straight line. But the audacity for them to drop a full game and not drop nothing else except for something that you have to pay for is ridiculous. That's crazy to me to this day. So being the self-proclaimed genius I am with free will and imagination, oh boy, I decided to take matters into my own hands and try to create a new concept for the next Need for Speed game using the factors of old and new games. If he's going to be doing stuff like this, then I mean, we're not going to really talk about that. I'm just see if I can skip around here. And before you say anything, yes, I know that I'm probably asking for a lot, but I don't care. This is my imagination and I'm free here. Okay. Alrighty. So imagine this, a Need for Speed game with the day-night cycle, but with both factors brought to their fullest potential. Day provides pro street style festival racing. Okay. Alrighty. So I'm not going to say we already on a bad track, but yo, brother, how many games do we have coming out now or that are already out that are doing this festival stuff? Heat had a festival, right, in the daytime. Crew Motorfest festival. Forza Horizon 5 festival. How many festival games do we need, ladies and gentlemen? If you want to play a festival game, then by all means go play a festival game. I don't think that Need for Speed needs to completely redo what it's been known for, which is illegal street racing, just to have a festival style racer that's arcade, right? We already have enough of that stuff. Need for Speed does not need to do that in order to actually be to keep having the games released, right? If y'all see what I'm saying. An overlying championship and night as your cutthroat, gritty, illegal street racing with higher stakes. That is like, this right here doesn't really make sense to me, right? Because if you are doing, so if it's just legal, right? If it's legal regardless, then what does the night have to do with anything? If you are already doing festival racing, then festival racing, the racing is legal regardless, right? It shouldn't matter if it's daytime or nighttime. Why would it now be illegal in nighttime if it's legal in the daytime? That doesn't really make sense to me. But basically what I'm seeing here already is Heat, but like 2025 Heat, right? Like somebody, if the idea of Heat were to come out in 2025, that's what this would be. That's what I'm getting off of this. Day races provide decent money and low rep, right? See, but night racing is either lower money but higher rep, which is what Heat does, or go all in for high stakes racing for higher risk and higher reward, which is also what Heat does with the Ultimate Plus parts and stuff like that. For everybody that doesn't know, there's no limit to how many races and how much rep you can get for Heat. So you can literally in the nighttime, you can just keep going from race to race to race to race to race all night. It doesn't matter. And you'll just get as much rep as possible, as many parts as possible, stuff like that. So that's what Heat is. The biggest thing here is that both cycles provide both cash and rep, but in different amounts. Literally Heat. The races can be divided by difficulty, like easy, normal, hard, and extreme, with higher numbers per each difficulty. I don't like dividing races by vehicle class or score like in Heat. It just feels tedious and annoying, so each difficulty could have a preferred vehicle class and a set distance of score, and maybe the game chooses varying opponent types depending on your current car class. What? I don't like dividing races by vehicle class or score like in Heat. So each difficulty could have a preferred vehicle class and a set distance of score. Isn't this dividing the races by class and score? What? Let me know in the comments if I'm bugging, right? I don't like dividing races by vehicle class or score like in Heat. It just feels tedious and annoying. So each difficulty could have a preferred vehicle class and a set distance of score. And maybe the game chooses varying opponent types depending on your current car class, okay? See, a lot of people don't like what Unbound does, right? But y'all fail to understand that Unbound is the reason why the R8 does not completely destroy every single car in the game in every single tier. Y'all, like, people love to go back to Heat and say, oh, there were no tiers or anything like that. Yet you have one car that dominates in every single race in the entire game. In Unbound, you have variety. Even though there's meta for each class, there is variety on what you can use with that meta. In Heat, it's just RSR. That's it. If you're not using the RSR, you're going to lose. If you are going against somebody who knows what they're doing, obviously, right? So, I mean, y'all love to go back to that sort of stuff, but I feel like they don't remember how every car was 400 plus, and it didn't even matter if your car was 400 plus because the RSR would just outclass every single thing, right? So be careful what you wish for, right? Story gameplay. The game takes place in some shoreline valley town where some racing championship is taking place, so we're back at festival again. The local racetrack stadium is taken over by the festival, yep, which is literally Forza Horizon 5, and turned into a hub for the racing championship. This helps boost the racing industry in this town, which already has a decently sized underground racing community. So why is there an underground racing community if everything that they're doing is legal in the daytime? What is underground about this? So if you're doing drag at nighttime, if you're doing races at nighttime, if you're doing drift at nighttime, whatever type of racing you're doing, right? But if it's legal in the daytime, then why would it not be legal in the nighttime as well? Festival stuff is regulated all around. It's not just daytime festival stuff, right? You see this in Horizon, you see this in Motorfest. You have races during the nighttime in both of those games, and there are no cops or anything. It's regulated because the festival has events for all times of day, all types of weather, right? So I don't really understand how you can't. I don't think for a festival type of game, you can really have the best of both worlds. You can't have on one hand it be legal in the daytime and be under festival, and then on the other hand, it's somehow not legal anymore because it's nighttime because the day has changed. That doesn't really make any sense to me because you're doing the same thing for both, regardless of the time of day. The protagonist is referred to as something like the kid. Okay, I'm gonna leave that one alone. The character can be customized and stuff, but they are silent. which avoids any annoying quips, overbearing backstory, or a plot nobody cares about. The character does not have to be silent though. That's the thing. If they organize good voice actors and a good plot regardless, then they don't have to be silent. And to be honest, excuse me, I think that when a character is silent, it ruins the story. Because, bro, y'all ever like Skyrim, right? Or any of these other games where you can pick a dialogue option and the AI will just continue talking? That ruins the immersion, bro. That, like, why are we doing that? It's 2025, 2026. I'm assuming when this game would come out, if it were to come out. Why are we still having silent characters? If you have a voice actor that can voice all of the dialogue options, then that's what you need to be doing, because that eliminates it being awkward, right? Imagine if they were talking to you, you click an option and it's just silent for 5 seconds. It's silent. it's just silent, right? And then after you pick it, they start talking again. That ruins the immersion, bro. Maybe that's just me, but I would prefer if, you know, first of all, they actually had a name, not just kid. And also if they can actually talk and not be mute. If you don't want to have to deal with the face, you could just put a racing helmet on and just be another faceless protagonist. That sounds terrible. That sounds lazy. Like, I would say all of this just sounds lazy, bro. All the problems that you're having here can easily be avoided if they just take the time to make a correct story. If they take the time to actually do a plot, right? And not just put some half-butt stuff in there, like Unbound. All we get to know about them is that they like music, art, and driving. That's so lazy. That's so lazy. Anyway, the story starts off with the kid blowing into town and joining some group of decent racers, kind of like the plot hook of 2015. Maybe they were brought over by the championship. Maybe they just rode into town. Who knows? Who cares? Either way, the kid joined some crew, each member defining a different type. Okay, so this right here, what I'm getting from this is basically it's the same as every other Need for Speed that has ever come out ever, right? There's a few different ones trickled in here and there where they don't have a story like this, but this is the typical Need for Speed cliche story. Yes. And I mean, he's just taken a lot from 2015, right? At this point, is it even a new game if you're taking a lot from 2015? You kind of got to spice it up a little bit, man. You got to remix it a little bit at least. Like, dang, bro. That's like he's literally taking a lot from 2015. What's the point of the story then? Just play 2015. Anyway, day and night cycles. During the day cycle, it's your typical street legal racing festival type of stuff, but with more emphasis on the actual festival. I heard that Heat lacked the actual festival feeling, so how about we emphasize on that by adding a hub where you can activate races anywhere on the map, as well as various festival details across the map like flags, billboards, and blimps. I mean, bro, this is copy and paste Horizon 5 Crew Motorfest right here, right? But notice when you play those games, you never think about Need for Speed because that you can't see Need for Speed doing something like that and having that type of vibe. Need for Speed is about illegal street racing, period. They're not about festival sort of stuff, right? Notice how even if they do a festival sort of theme, they never really continue with that from game to game because they know that the community is not really about festival type of racing. I can't name one time where I was thinking about Need for Speed and saying, oh, Need for Speed should do this. They should do the Horizon Festival. They should do the Motorfest Festival. They should do all that sort of stuff. No, they shouldn't because that's not what they're known for, right? Like, how would the cops even play into this? And that's what I'm saying, right? If we can't have a game like Unbound where the cops are only in certain parts of the game, right? You can't be doing that, bro. And I didn't like that in Heat either. I would prefer if the cops were able to chase you in daytime or nighttime because you're an illegal, like you're doing illegal things regardless of day or night. The idea of the day cycle will revolve around a championship where you need to complete races and climb the ranks in order to move up in the league with the goal of winning them all. I mean, and I like if you really pushed it, I guess it could work, but don't they have this sort of stuff just in the Need for Speed games anyway? Like, isn't this what the Grand was right here? In Unbound, this was literally the Grand, but they didn't have to do a festival, and it was illegal the entire time, and you had cops behind you the entire time, right? You didn't lose that illegal feeling. The championship is divided into different genres of events like typical racing, drifting, off-road drag, which you can all approach individually and complete however you want. I mean, that's interesting, right? That's cool. While most races are available, with others being opened as you climb the ranks, the various championships are progressed through specific races. The chosen races have set difficulties that you need to overcome in various checkpoints where you need to duel the class champ in order to proceed to the next vehicle class. So he said he doesn't like these vehicle classes and everything, but yet you have this right here where there's so much that you have to do before you can even get to the next race. Like, didn't he say he didn't like he said it over here, right? It feels tedious and annoying with the vehicle classes, but yet you say down here you need the vehicle class. Like, you have to do a bunch of stuff. You have to do a bunch of prerequisites in order to actually race, in order to get to the next vehicle class. Right here, right? So I'm not really getting what he's saying. There are illegal races during the day called outskirt races, which take place outside of the city where the police can't see. They're usually off-road or drag races. Okay, so you have illegal stuff in the daytime and illegal stuff in the nighttime. So what's the point of the illegal stuff in the daytime? If the daytime is focused on the festival, then, and I'm not trying to nitpick here, right? But it doesn't make any sense. It seems like it's a bunch of just circling over and over again. Because if the whole focus of nighttime is to be completely different from the daytime, and you're supposed to have a bunch of illegal stuff going on at night, and that's supposed to be the grittiness, then why are there illegal races in the daytime? I feel like at this point you got to have either one or the other, right? You can't have illegal races in the daytime and festival in the daytime, because then what's the point of illegal racing in the nighttime if you could just have it in the day, right? So if you can do this stuff in the daytime, and then it says where the cops can't see, so I'm assuming it would be like in Heat where the cops aren't aggressive, then why would you ever go to nighttime, right? The police are present here, but they are lighter than what they would be during the night. Exactly. I didn't even read this part yet. So like Heat, they most definitely aren't like the 2015 cops or the day cops of Heat, but they also aren't on the same level of Rivals or Heat's night cops. So they're basically they're just there. They're just there. And I'm a little bit, okay, so where would the cops be then? If the cops aren't here, where the police can't see, if they're not here during the illegal races, and they're not here during the festival because that's legal, then where are the police present at? I would need the answer to that question. During the night cycle, the championship and festival drops to the typical late night street racing. Instead of daytime's routine of climbing the ranks and completing specific races to move up in the championship line, you just need to keep winning races to build up your rep, then join more challenging races as your heat rises. Okay, so does the map completely change? That's what I'm thinking, right? Or what they could do is like one portion of the map could just be locked off until you go back into daytime. That's what I'm thinking anyway. Rather than the festival hub, there are multiple different hangouts, like some abandoned sewer drain or a secret hideaway where you can activate races and stuff. That's where you have high heat races, okay? There are different categories of races here as well, like normal street races, drift challenges, drift races. And that's what I'm saying, right? Like if you can do all this sort of stuff in the daytime without the cops bothering you, and you can still get money and rep, because you remember, nighttime is where you can get more rep and less money, and daytime is where you can get more money and less rep, but you're still getting rep, right? So if you can do that without getting bothered by the cops, then why would you ever go to nighttime? Once you get enough rep, you can join high stake races where you need to pay a certain amount to attend in the first place. The higher you pay, the higher the payout if you win. If you lose, you leave with nothing. Okay. So this is from Unbound right here. You have the buy-ins. I know a lot of people didn't like that, but hey, it is what it is. When you defeat champs during the championship races, they will be available for you to challenge at the hangouts where you can put your car on the line in a duel. If you win, you get a massive payout and get to keep the champ's car. But if you lose, they take your car, return to the championship, and you have to beat them again. Okay. So you have to do the championship race again if you lose to the champion. So basically, you beat the guy, right? And then he's available for you to race, I guess, anytime you want in the hangouts. But if you lose in the hangout, then you have to redo the entire process all over again, and you get nothing. So you lose everything. They take your car. You have to go back to where you just beat them, and you have to beat them again. That's crazy. That's actually insane to me. I don't know if that would work, because you've already proven your point, right? If you're going through the story and this is something you need to do to go through the story, then it wouldn't make sense for you, if this is a progression point, right? If this is a progress point, and you have to do this in order to progress into the next thing or get more rep or go into the next championship or the next section of the map, then why would you have to redo this if you've already done this and now they're available to go to the hangout? Why would everything reset? Because now that means that if you lose one time, then you're not going to have access to anything after this because you have to redo this. Maybe I'm looking too deep into it. Let me know in the comments, y'all. Cops are tough here, but it's tougher than during the day. However, they stay away from the hangouts, which means that they can act like safe spaces when you're out and about. Plus, different cops for different terrains. So if you're getting chased by faster pursuit cars, you can lose them better if you go off-road. I mean, sure. Okay, so here are some other things that they want in the game. Side missions and plots. Each member of the crew you originally joined will give you various side missions depending on what type of racer they're supposed to represent. These missions swap between day and night and provide special rewards like extra money, parts, stuff like that. Completing their entire mission line provides you with a specialty car fine-tuned for the genre. I mean, that car's probably gonna be trash. I'm not gonna lie to y'all. I honestly think that you'd probably be better off with your own car than a fine-tuned car for the genre, bro. That's crazy. Customizable garages. I mean, we got a whole video about this, bro. We literally have a whole video about customizable garages. Repair shops. I can't speak for Unbound, but Heat has a set number of repairs you can use before you're on your own. Did he not play Unbound? Has he not played Unbound? That's kind of crazy. Anyway, for Unbound, you can go to the gas station as many times as you want to. There is no set limit. However, every time that you go past the free repairs, it just has a time limit. So, but you can keep going through that gas station as long as you're willing to keep going through it. So for my game, while you have a set number of free repairs every time you go out, but once you use them up, you need to pay a set amount of money every time you drive by to get repairs, which grows according to your vehicle class, current level of damage, and the amount of times you repaired today to night. For example, it costs $100 to repair your car the first time. Maybe it costs $150 or $200 the second time. I mean, that's a cool little gimmick, I guess. Would it stop the game every single time that you would go to a gas station, or would it automatically take the money out? Fast travel, okay, that's self-explanatory. Photo mode, self-explanatory. Actually, you can pause time to move the camera around and take pictures around your car, even place your character or other characters outside. Okay, so Forza. So the Forza photo mode, cool. Strength upgrades. So here's a crazy idea. You can modify the amount of armor plating your car has. Higher armor means more health and power in a fight, but the extra weight makes it slower and harder to handle. You can fine tune how much strength you want over speed, and there could be additional upgrades you can make to mix things up, like armor that takes a special slot but provides bonus protection at no extra weight cost. I mean, then that's what everybody's gonna run, right? That's what everybody's gonna run. This, right? As soon as they get this, then everything else automatically becomes irrelevant. Everything else automatically. If there's no weight cost and you have armor that just takes up a special slot and provides actual protection and bonus protection, and you have no drawbacks, that's what everybody's gonna run. There's no like that's funny. This right here is interesting. Me personally, I would see no point in running this, just because if you're doing races in the daytime or nighttime, you want to complete those races as fast as possible, right? You want to complete those, that way you can keep on going and get more rep, more parts, more money as fast as possible. So I'm gonna just have NOS upgrades on mine. That's what I'm gonna have, NOS upgrades. I wouldn't have any of this stuff on here, me personally, just because I just wouldn't see the point in it. I feel like a lot of like comp people wouldn't even have this stuff either. The music will be varying and have different music sets for various music taste. Heavy set for metal enthusiasts, techno, festival set. Plus you can select different sets and mix with them. This sounds expensive. This sounds very expensive. I'm not gonna lie to you. Very, very expensive. Honestly, because I've heard that they've done it before, just give people the option to just have Spotify. That like low key, bro. But I do like this because it does give people, it stops people from complaining over stuff that does not matter. And music does not matter, right? In the grand scheme of things, it does not matter for this. And this right here, having people have their own music so they can shut up. I like this. Alrighty, so we're just gonna go through this real quick and see. The story, we've already talked about this, right? I mean, bro, this is cliche. All I ask is, like, if they're going to make a new Need for Speed game, it can't be like every single other game that has come out, bro. Like, that's so old now. The story is, you know, I can tell you the story right now. Some random kid started from the bottom. He's gonna join a crew, and then at the end of the game, they're gonna be at the top. He's gonna win all the races and all that sort of stuff, right? I don't even have to play the game to know that that's gonna be the ending, right? Because that's what every Need for Speed game does, and they fall straight into that cliche. New kid in town, yep, kid started from the bottom, nobody knows him. He's gonna join a crew, enter the championship. Now he's gonna get his name around. Everybody's gonna be talking about him. There's gonna be a big bad on there that he's gonna beat at the last race in the championship. Happy ever after, right? So I don't agree with the story. I think it's just cliche and plain, bro. Day and night cycle. So yeah, Forza, right? So they're gonna have a festival, and then a night cycle. But once again, it just doesn't make sense, because if you're driving on the same roads, the same map as daytime, why is it now not legal? If they have an agreement with the city that there can be racing in general, then why would it automatically become illegal because it's nighttime, right? That doesn't make sense. They have legal racing at night for festivals. So we already talked about this up here. More money, less rep. Yeah, but I mean, you still get rep, right? So if there's illegal stuff in the daytime, then I would just grind out daytime, so I wouldn't have to deal with the cops. That's what I would do. Less money in the start, more rep. And what does that mean? Less money in the start. So and here's the thing, right? We could flip it upside down. If you're making more money and more rep in nighttime, then why are you doing daytime cycles? I don't know. The champs. Yeah, needing to beat them again doesn't make any sense at all. Unless you're doing this and it's like a side quest, but even then, that means the whole side quest will restart. And then on top of that, it's part of the championship race, right? So from what I'm understanding, so you're never gonna make it to the championship. So let's say that you get to the last race before the championship, right? And then you go back and you want to challenge somebody at the very beginning and you lose. So now you have to do all of that all over again, but everything else has happened because you've won against the championship. So now the story wouldn't even make sense, because why do you have to restart something you did at day 1 when you're at day 9? So how did you get to day 9? If it, like, you know what I'm saying? So side missions, 2015 style, you gotta have your own style, brother. Free repairs, that's cool. Fast travel's cool. Photo mode's cool. Strength upgrades, that's cool. We're already about to hit 30 minutes, y'all, so I'm not gonna go through the comments, but you guys can look at the post, right? Ignore this. You guys can look at the post and see what's going on, and see what other people have said. Yeah, but like, that's what I'm saying. Like, basically a more in-depth heat with extra steps, stuff like that. That's what I figured it would be. It sounds like heat, but they're just adding more to heat. I would prefer if somebody were to come up with an actual new, fresh idea, and then we can kind of break that down, right? So if you guys have any ideas on what you would want the next Need for Speed game to be, and if it's in Reddit, I'll react to it. I'll talk about it, and we can talk about it in the comments. Besides that, y'all, I appreciate y'all for making it to the end. I know this video is pretty long. It's about 30 minutes long, but hey, it is what it is. If you enjoyed, make sure to go ahead and drop a like and subscribe, and I'll see you all in the next video.